So here we are on day 2 here at Caddo Lake. I have changed locations. I'm very far away from where I fished yesterday. Yesterday I fished for spawning fish on cypress trees. They're spawning fish that I couldn't see, and I wasn't sure how many of them weren't spawning. And I was hoping that there were a lot that were just feeding and living around in those areas. But what I discovered is that they probably were mostly spawners, and so once you catch them, they're gone. You can't catch any more. They don't reload. And there was just an unbelievable amount of fishing pressure yesterday up there. So I'm not going to fish there today. I've come down here to a different part of the lake where there's not as much fishing pressure. The fish are a little smaller on average, but I think if I catch enough of them, I'll be okay. And I'm hoping I can stumble across a big one or two. One really big one would be awesome. The way that I'm fishing, I feel good about potentially getting a big bite. I'm going to be throwing a white chatterbait at some cypress trees probably nearly the whole time. I'm pretty excited about it. Hopefully they didn't get beat up on yesterday. Since I'm not seeing anybody here right now, I feel like that means they probably didn't get fished for that hard yesterday. The cool thing about this lake is for the bass boats. There was a big bass boat tournament yesterday. They have a slot limit, so basically they have to fish for fish that are over 18 inches. I don't know what the under is on the slot, but since down here a lot of your fish are like 15, 16, 17 inches, I don't think as many boats fish down here. So my hope is that they also didn't pressure it yesterday, whereas where I was fishing, where the size class is better, they got hammered. But yeah, gonna be in those things all day.
So here we go, day 2 on Caddo. Had a much more fun day on the water this time. On day 1, I did catch some quality fish, but I did not catch very many fish, and there were some long dry spells. Day 2 was a lot more consistent for me. I caught a lot of fish. I caught a lot of nice fish. It was just a blast. Got to catch them on a moving bait. I am going to break down kind of the technicalities of how I was doing this, because it wasn't just as simple as go around and throw at every single tree in the lake and eventually you'll catch some. So I did catch some of my fish from big clusters of cypress trees that have tons and tons of targets to throw at. But check out this tree right up here in front of me. Not only is it isolated, but it is also a very large tree. It's 3 trees that are into one. I don't know what that means, but whenever I saw one like this, that was a very good thing.
About dang time, goodness. He bit it how they're supposed to though. Well, I'll take them however they come. Not getting off to as hot of a start as I would like, but picking at them. Oh my gosh. I was thinking in my head, like, yeah, when that bass bit, I literally reeled the chatterbait up and I was holding my, he folded his fins down. You're supposed to keep them up, buddy. Keep them up, keep them up. There we go. Anyway, I was thinking about how I literally switched the rod into my other hand and like went to adjust my 360 when he bit, and that one went, I thought I had another one like that. small one. This is some crazy stuff. Yeah, buddy. I'm under the impression that bites like these are going to be harder to come by in this part of the lake, so I'm very pumped on that one. They seem to only want to bite when I have about 4 inches of line off the rod, so I guess we'll keep doing that. Fish number 3 is 19 inches. I'm gonna put her back. She's been caught before.
So you'll notice a lot of my casts are at very strange angles and just weird fishing, close quarters. But in these trees, you don't have much of a choice, especially with this wind blowing. So I'm making casts that you can't always see a lot of the time because it's just, you got to take the opportunities that you're given, and they're pretty limited.
It's a pretty good one. It was a goofy landing, that's why I don't like a long net, but I need to buy an actual net after I lost my other one.
So you'll see in this clip, I'm just kind of hanging onto this tree with my foot to measure my bass. But later on, I actually had to start tying up to the trees with some rope just because this wind would kind of blow you through all of the trees. And by the time you got a fish measured, you were either a long ways from where you caught that fish and you'd have to work your way back, or you could potentially also spook some fish by drifting through places that you hadn't had a chance to fish yet.
You're pretty long, actually. There we go, number 4. I'm kind of hanging onto this tree here, but send him back. I think it had a bite right there. That was small. Yeah, buddy. That one's not small. That 20-pound test is so much fun. You can do whatever you want with it. It's a good one. Time to measure them up. All right, just submitted my 5th fish, so let's see where we are at. Not bad, but unfortunately, this is a marathon and not a sprint. If it was a sprint, I'd say cut it right now. Let's see, what's my best 5 right now? 87.5. So I got 2 that can stay, 3 that need to go. I don't think he's gonna help. Man, he bit soft. Nope.
So the wind noise was so bad at this point, I was trying to explain what was going on, but you can't even hear it over the wind. I'm approaching a submerged island here, and it was one of the shallower ones in the area. There were lots of submerged islands, but this one had the right depth. And so I had caught one fish off of it in practice, which was not big, but a submerged island out in the middle of the lake seems like a very good place to catch a big one. So I decided I was going to make the long trek out into the middle of the lake to fish this spot.
Oh, hey. Not bad, but could be better. Yeah, I've got 87 something. I'll try. I caught one right here in practice. He's worth a lot of money, I think. Now I gotta go tie myself to a tree over here so I can measure this thing. Woo! It normally doesn't work out like that, does it? Or I guess it does for you, doesn't it? Ewing says he always catches one when you roll up.
A little bit rough coming over here.
I can imagine. Here, you can grab a picture right now. I'm taking my time to let him get tired because I'm throwing that thing on 20-pound line, and so they don't get to tire themselves out very much.
So that is a very real thing. You can lose fish off of your board, and when you're catching fish that you don't fight for very long, if you're catching them like I was in, typically close quarters with heavy line, they don't fight for very long before you get them in the net. Those fish have a lot of energy and are more apt to jump out of the kayak. So even though it's maybe not the best thing for the fish, they are worth a lot of money. And besides leaving them out of the water for a little bit so that they get tired and they're more cooperative, I take as good a care as possible as I can. I try to revive the fish once I've got a good picture of it and whatnot. But that is a good tip, can probably save you something in the future.
I might be able to get him to touch 20, but I'm gonna take a picture at 19 3/4 first. All right, you ready? $20 and we got Steve here. We got hopefully some good pictures of him. Just got a very large one, 20-incher on my little island. Try to get another one.
So this is what I always try telling my bass fishing friends that maybe don't kayak fish about a Hobie with 360 drive on it. I don't really understand how people are able to compete without this kayak, and I know it's very expensive, but it's such a ridiculous advantage because you can see this wind is absolutely ripping, and I'm out here able to fish in a kayak pretty effectively, which even in a boat, you would have a hard time fishing this island effectively because of how hard this wind was ripping. And in a kayak without 360 drive, I mean, unless you're going to anchor up, obviously if you can use a trolling motor, but we can't in these tournaments, a trolling motor with spot lock would do the same thing, but you're not as stealthy with that because fish know what a trolling motor vibrating is. Anyway, that's my little spiel about the 360 drive, but this day would not have been possible without it.
Oh, bad cat. I don't know if he's gonna help or not. I don't think so. Good to be catching some again though.
Obviously you don't see all the non-fish catching parts of my day, but my fifth fish was caught at 9:38 and my sixth out on this island right before this one was caught at 11:47. So there was a bit of a dry spell for me.
Going back.
So typically I spend 3 days of practice on any fishery for any tournament, actually. I think that that's the perfect amount of time to kind of figure out what you want to do and then also figure out the bite a little bit. I only had 2 days of practice for this tournament, so I didn't get to do as much figuring out the specifics of these bites. And so on this day, I mean, the reason for that dry spell was because I was just doing a little bit of experimenting in between fishing some areas that I had already caught them. And now I ended up moving back into, you know, some similar stuff. You can see now I'm on these relatively isolated trees that I'm able to fish through effectively and not waste time. And I started catching a lot more fish again.
Not gonna help. Man, that thing hit it.
So this wind had really kicked up and it was very challenging to cast. I mean, it's hard enough to fish around these cypress trees and get your bait close enough to them, but then you add this wind on top of that, and being in a kayak, being at water level, it was very challenging, but I could see the casts that I needed to make, and I was almost getting that tingly feeling before I would even make certain casts once I started to figure it out, and it got pretty fun for the rest of the day.
I think that'll help. Skinny fish. Ooh, broken jaw skinny fish. He might be longer than he looks because of that. $17.25, half an inch upgrade. Got a little over 2 hours left to fish, I think, and I'm coming up on an area. Up in these trees, I had 2 big bites in practice. I have not fished it yet today, so fingers crossed. We are yanking on them now. No, it's not gonna help. Oh wow, I'm really hooking them well with this big string. Not gonna do it, but I'm having fun. He's hooked in the top of the head. That's a good one. He's hooked in the top of the head, so he was pretty goofy to land. Catching some today. Catching some today. This is a video for the 17 3/4 inch. Bass. I hooked him in the eyeball, so that side looks terrible, but he's alive and well. Let's see if he'll kick off for us. Well, he's sinking. Okay, there he goes. Yeah, he's alive. Okay, smallest is 17 1/4. Not gonna help.
So I don't care how good you are at casting, part of fishing around trees like this, especially with a moving bait, is you're going to get hung up. But something I always try to make sure to do is that when I get hung up, if there's a way for me to pop that bait free and not have to go in there and ruin that spot, I'm going to do it. So you'll see right here why that is important.
Oh, I don't know. I actually don't even know. We're just getting to the point that they're all big. It's gotta be 17 1/4. I don't know. Pretty close. Pretty close to helping. Nope. Not gonna help. 17 incher. Dang, they are here. I don't think he's gonna help either. Dang, they are here. Holy cow. He's probably not big enough. 17 incher. Bite, didn't feel very big.
Yeah, so I'm absolutely clobbering them in this patch of trees. It was where I had 2 good bites in practice, but I didn't know what that meant. Now I'm turned around and fishing back through the set of trees to give everything a little different angle.
Oh, I had a camera on. I wasn't sure if I did or not. I think that one's gonna help. I don't know. I'm getting to the point that they're all just kind of big. Okay, another upgrade. That's an 18 1/2 incher. Got him. Barely. That's a big one. But he looks like he's more round than long. But there we go. One more upgrade. Got 30 minutes left. How big are you? Another very nice one. 19 1/4. Probably gonna be the last upgrade for today, but you never know. I still got 30 minutes to fish, so I'm gonna see if I can stick another big one. Oh, sorry, fish. All right, yeah, you're stuck in the tree. You just turn around, you're good. Nice. Well, that does it for the Hobie BOS on Caddo Lake. Caddo and Bistineau. You can fish Bistineau, but this is where I'm at, Caddo. Yeah, had a good day, really good day, better than I expected. Had 94 3/4. I'm hoping it puts me in the top 10 this time. Last time when they shut the leaderboard off with the Harris chain, I was in like 6th or something, and by the time it was all said and done, I was in 11th. But I'm feeling good. Had a really fun day, a lot more fun than yesterday. Got to catch them on big line and just whoop them, which is not something I get to do much anymore because I feel like fish are getting so smart everywhere. So yeah, fun day. Headed to the ramp now and probably gonna have to go to the award ceremony. So hope you enjoyed this one.
My GoPro died as I was trying to film that outro on the way to the ramp, but I pretty much covered it all. I finished in 9th out of 205 anglers, and that got me $1,250. Pretty good payday, paid for my trip, and a decent little chunk of change in my pocket on top of that. If you're wondering about the rod I was using, I caught all my fish on this day on one rod. That is the 7-foot medium heavy moderate Veritas PLX, and that is a Zeta on there, 7.3 to 1 gear ratio with 20-pound trilene fluorocarbon. Biggest line I have ever used on a bladed jig before. That's a 3/8 ounce white bladed jig. Y'all know what it is. I didn't have any of the 3/8 ounce slobber knockers to try out. I haven't really gotten to fish with those enough yet to know when and where to throw them, but I've heard they're good around wood. Maybe they would have done well at this one. Thanks for watching. The next tournament video is going to be Santee Cooper, but in between now and then, I think I'm going to post a commercial amberjack trip. So hope you enjoyed and hope you keep watching my stuff. Thank you.